Next up on an all-new Rick and Rick.
It's our spoilerific review of Terminator Dark Fate.
That's right. All the action, all the adventure, all the mind-blowing special effects.
Not to mention Sarah Connor, the Rev 9, and a T-800 named Carl.
Plus, loaded questions, the Terminator Edition, and a whole lot more.
And it all starts right here, right now.
On the one show where everybody has a Rick smacking good time.
And everybody rules the world.
Hey, welcome to Rick and Rick Rule the World. I'm Rick Matheson, and joining me, as always, is Mira Atak Dost. It's a little Hindi, that at least hypothetically a little Hindi, that I pretty much messed up right there for you, Rick.
I thought it was Klingon.
I think it either means my good buddy or the night watchman will call 3 times before breakfast at Denny's, but I'm not totally sure. How the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about today's show. I'm excited to talk about this movie and hear what you thought of it.
I'm looking forward to that as well. This is the official Rick and Rick review of Terminator Dark Fate. And everybody, there's lots of spoilers. So if you're planning to see the movie, you might want to listen to this afterwards so you can agree with every last thing that we say.
Yeah, we're going to spoil the hell out of this one.
So we're talking Terminator Dark Fate. What was your overall?
Let's hear yours first, because
okay.
I think I usually go first.
Okay, let's see. I think that the fact that I read ahead of time just how poorly it did at the box office sufficiently lowered my expectations so that I was thinking, okay, this is just going to be complete crap. And I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Watching it in the theater, I actually thought it was fun. I felt myself kind of tense up at exciting moments. And it was loud and exciting, lots of cool action shots, great special effects. And I have to say, I had a good time. How about you?
You know, I had a really good time too. If you remember when we first started talking about the movies coming out this year, Terminator came up, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I could be quoted as saying, I don't think I need another Terminator.
Right.
Then fast forward to Comic-Con, and we got to see a little bit more about it and hear a little bit more about the movie. And I started getting kind of excited. And then I saw that first trailer. I was like, you know what? I'm actually looking forward to this.
Yeah.
But from the beginning, my expectations have been pretty low, just simply because, the after 2, I just haven't been that impressed with the movies. And in fact, I think I've told you before, I kind of enjoyed the Sarah Connor Chronicles,
Right.
The TV series, better than the last couple of movies. But I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. So I heard too, before I went in, that, the box office wasn't great. They think it's a failure. It's destroyed the franchise, all that stuff. But then I went in and just kind of like cleared it and just saw it for what it was. And I have to say, I had a great time. There's a lot of nostalgia in it.
Yep.
We were talking about some Easter eggs. I picked up on a ton of Easter eggs. I did some research online and found a few more. And frankly, watching Sarah Connor kick ass was just a hell of a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed it.
Good. I was afraid we were going to have another Far From Home disconnect. I was ready to call this Terminator Far From Home. So I'm relieved to hear it. Just to kind of dial everybody in here, this is the 6th movie in the franchise, but this one is supposed to be a direct sequel from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. They're pretending that the other ones did not happen, and it does have Linda Hamilton and then Mackenzie Davis as Grace, an augmented human being, and then Natalia Reyes as Dani Ramos, who became sort of the new protagonist. We learned that at the end of Terminator 2, Sarah Connor has indeed changed the future. There is no Judgment Day, but that didn't mean that Terminators didn't arrive in our present day. And in 1998, there was a Terminator who tracks down Sarah and John Connor. They're on this beach in Guatemala, and that Terminator just comes walking out of the water and blows John Connor away. Now, while Sarah's efforts change the future, the rise of the machine simply comes later in a different way. There's no Skynet, but now there's something called Legion, whose AI eventually decides, hey, time to eradicate the meat puppets. And as we pick up here, there's this Rev 9 model Terminator in Mexico City, and its mission appears to be kill Dani Ramos. He's foiled thanks to Grace, this cybernetically enhanced human being who is in turn saved by Sarah Connor. And together they make their way to these mysterious coordinates that Sarah receives by text message. And at that destination, they find Arnold as the Terminator who murdered John Connor, but is now known as Carl, who is an interior decorator. I'll let that sink in for just a second there. Now, he's going to help them protect Dani, stopping the Rev 9 and giving Sarah closure. She is uniquely suited to help Dani become the leader that she needs to be. And Linda Hamilton's outstanding. I think she really created a compelling character for Sarah Connor at this age. And in fact, there was apparently this thought that this would be the start of a new trilogy. I don't know if that's going to happen because of the box office. I'm okay if it's not. I like this. I thought it was a good close to that storyline.
I agree with that. You kind of talked about this a minute ago. I just want to go back to it.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of cracked me up was how they broke from the basically the movies that happened after T2. And the way they did that is by killing John.
Right.
So the whole point of that Terminator, coming up at the beach and killing John with the shotgun, the whole point of that was to say, by doing this, what we're doing is resetting it. So all those movies that happened after that didn't happen anymore. We just changed the timeline. So therefore, we're starting over. I just thought that was pretty clever.
Well, for me, that worked. I've read online people were not happy with him blowing away John Connor. I think it was a wise choice, but a lot of people felt like, well, what was the point of T2 then? Everything hung on him surviving, and then we get 5 minutes into the third part, and we find out he died a couple months later. I did read that Tim Miller was very much in the mindset of don't have too many callbacks, don't do too much of fan service. We saw Sarah Connor say, I'll be back. I actually liked the way she delivered I'll be back, and I thought that was a great callback right there. I felt like one callback was just like, okay, come on, what are you doing? It was that moment where Carl is gearing up to go, and then he looks in the mirror and is going to put on his sunglasses and decides against it. They were just calling back the fact that he used to put on his sunglasses. That one didn't work for me.
I liked that scene, though. I mean, with him putting on the leather jacket and then picking up the glasses, you're like, oh, man, are they really going to do that? And then he puts them down. It's like, all right. I actually thought that was pretty cool.
No one said hasta la vista, so that was a positive thing. There were lots of things that didn't make sense for me. One was, how did Sarah know to save Grace and Dani on their bridge? Carl seemed to indicate he was not sending the coordinates, right?
No, he definitely said that he was sending the coordinates. He had this little part where he talked about how he was doing it because he felt that it would give her purpose and help her get closure over John's death. And so he was sending those coordinates based on looking for some kind of a temporal anomaly, and he was then able to predict where it was. And so he was absolutely sending those.
Oh, all right. Well, I was getting confused by that. He was noticing the temporal anomalies and saying, oh, there must be a Terminator appearing there. He just didn't know it happened to be a different kind of Terminator from a different timeline. He just saw the temporal anomaly and said, something's happening here, we want to be there. Now,
that's correct.
For the other Terminators since John Connor's death, were they all sent at the same time as he was, and they just happened to arrive later than he did?
That's exactly how I understood it.
That makes some sense to me. Now, he was sending the coordinates for the Terminators and also to his location?
So he was sending the coordinates for where the temporal anomalies were going to happen. And if you remember in that one moment in the car, Grace takes the phone and then does some quote-unquote future stuff, if you remember that line. And she then is able to reverse track it and see where it came from, which was a certain city. And then she kind of had that moment of realization that same area is what was tattooed on her.
Okay. And that's kind of what I got. I assumed that Dani put that tattoo on her because she would have known. She would have already lived through this and said, go to this.
That's exactly it.
All right. There was the whole bit about Grace needing the sodium something at various points because she would crash, that she could only go so far, assuming that she would kill a Terminator within the first, I think she said 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever, she was going to be destroyed. Now, they set that up, but it never became too much of a crisis because someone always appeared with the sodium something at the exact moment she needed it. So that whole thing was a little weird to me.
Yeah, she had, and we saw her prepare a number of shots, and then we even saw when she was nabbed by the Border Patrol that they've had two of them either were taped to her back that they peeled off, but I think it was pretty subtle.
It was just that they didn't end up doing anything with it. It was like the most it ever got was she couldn't open the door, but then there comes Arnold and she breaks the door open.
Exactly. And I never felt like that really kind of explained what was going on. I mean, we knew that she was overheating and they threw the ice on her, they had her drinking lots of water, and that she needed a bunch of stuff. And they listed off some of it. I didn't catch it all, but to me, none of that really sounded like a solution for her system basically going into fatigue.
Right.
Probably somebody actually.
There's some electrolytes. It was powdered Gatorade.
That's right.
What was funny was Sarah Connor just magically getting the right combination of everything that first time.
Exactly. The other thing I wanted to mention was the T-800 about Carl, this idea of him wanting to change things. That was one of the things that I just didn't buy. It wasn't like he was programmed to do something.
Right.
It was like, he'd he'd been there long enough that his programming kind of morphed over time. I didn't buy into that. I didn't feel like that was feasible.
In
Yeah,
that regard.
and in fact, that first scene where Linda's on the beach and she's kind of having this I don't know, this vision from the future with all these Terminators coming out of the water. That was probably the worst special effects in the entire movie. You could totally tell
Yeah.
that they were superimposed in the water, that the
Oh,
water wasn't
yes.
rippling right, and like it was really, and we talked about this before. It's like these movies go and they spend a lot of money in one area, and then there's a different area that's like, oh my god, the special effects here are just so poor compared to the rest of it. That was, for me, that was the scene where
Yeah.
those Terminators are coming out of the water.
Then there's the matter of the EMP devices.
Mhm.
So who knew it was so easy for a high-ranking military official to walk off a military base with 2 EMPs in a briefcase, or
Right.
that he could just call in and say, I'm being chased by these things, kill those things, don't kill me, look out, I'm coming, and everybody just reacting exactly how we would want the military to act in that moment.
Yeah.
That part was
I
like, what
felt
the hell is happening here?
Yeah, I felt like they jumped over a huge plot story here.
Yes.
Like, what kind of relationship does she have with this guy? Like, where he would just come with this?
Yes.
Like, and then, like, to not only risk his life, but all these other soldiers' lives, plus everything else. Like, it was amazing. It's like, oh yeah, here's the plane. Go take this plane. We'll
Yeah.
make sure that we have some jet fighters, like hanging out with you to make sure. Like, what the
Totally
hell?
unbelievable. Like,
Yeah, that
what?
one was pretty crazy to me too.
I did like that the hero is Mexican and that we open the start of the movie down in Mexico City. There is something poetic about the savior of humanity being a Mexican woman who is having to sneak into the United States to save us all.
Yeah.
That was kind of an
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah,
interesting
there was
point.
definitely a little bit of a political thing in there. One of the, I don't know, again, Easter egg or what have you, was all the biblical references that were actually in this, which I hadn't realized until, again, I think this one was Looper again. I was reading this article, and you can just start with the fact that the names they chose are biblical names, right? In many of the
Interesting.
cases,
Yeah.
Grace and Sarah. Secondly, Sarah was basically the Mother Mary. She was the mother to the Savior of the world, and that kind of was played through this several times. And then the last one, was the Terminator in this movie, which was Rev 9. Which could be Revelations 9, which is the end of days. And so it was interesting to see, and I'm assuming these are all intentional and not that somebody's reading too much into it, but it was kind of cool to see how much of that was woven into the storyline as well.
Were there any other Easter eggs that really stood out for you?
So one of the ones that I didn't catch, that I read about, I don't remember which site I saw this on, was the phone number on the side of Carl's drapery van. Did you catch that?
No.
The phone number 888-512-1984. And the crazy significance of that was the original Terminator movie is supposed to take place on May 12th, 1984, 512-1984. So that was kind of cool. But more fun than that is, and that's a real number. And if you call it, there's a voice recording from Arnold Schwarzenegger on it.
Coming down to final grade. Did you want me to go first since you usually go first?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, why don't you go first this time?
All right. What's interesting, kind of I've sort of sat with it for a couple days, is I know I saw those other Terminator movies, can't remember a damn thing about them. And I don't feel like I'm going to remember much about this one in a week. But
no.
Terminator 2, I think I saw a couple times in I was telling everybody would listen, you got to go see this movie. And it was just kind of this event. And this was not that. I think I started this thinking about this movie, thinking I was going to give it like a B minus, but I ended up doing B minus C plus because I liked it. But like I said earlier, it's just no T2. Did feel like, hey, if you're going to close this out, this is a good way to do it. But I feel like, I never need to see that again and probably will never think about it again.
No, I think that's fair. I'd rate it a little bit higher. I felt like it was great to see Linda back in her role.
Totally
it was interesting to see how they kind of skipped over the other movies and figured out a way to get around that. And frankly, the action was just a lot of fun. I definitely recommend people see this. I think it's great to kind of wrap it up. So I'm going to give this one a flat B.
Fair enough. I think it is one that's worth going to see in the theater.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. We have a whole game of loaded questions coming up. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, Rick and Rick Nation, don't forget to check out our website at rickandrick.com. It's double the Rick in just one click at rickandrick.com. All right, Rick Wooten, are you ready for some loaded questions?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Got 3 questions today. This is the Terminator edition of Loaded Questions. And my first question to you: when Arnold Schwarzenegger's commitment to Conan the Destroyer pushed back production on the original Terminator movie, James Cameron, A, went ape, B, was asked to write the script for Rambo First Blood Part 2. C, was asked to write the script for Aliens. D, was asked to write a script for Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Or E, both B and C, and probably A, but definitely not D.
Yeah, it was the last one. Because I think he was asked to do multiple, right?
Yes. In fact, it's an interesting story. So I saw this on IMDb. So after Arnold's commitment to Conan the Barbarian, that pushed back production by, I guess, 9 months. And James Cameron at that time, he's like, wanted to be working on something. So in addition to refining the script for Terminator over time, he shared it, showed it around, and then got asked to write the script for both Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Aliens. So he did all 3 scripts at the same time. And what was interesting is he said that he had 3 different desks to keep them, fresh in his mind and totally separate. Question number 2. In addition to Arnold Schwarzenegger, which of the following were also considered for the part of the Terminator? A, Sylvester Stallone. B, O.J. Simpson. C, John Travolta. Or D, Wilford Brimley.
I think it was Stallone. I'm not sure, though.
Seems logical, but no, the answer is B. So also according to IMDb, O.J. Simpson was considered for the Terminator, but the producers feared that he was, quote, too nice to be taken seriously as a cold-blooded killer, unquote.
Are you serious?
I am absolutely serious. Final question. The first choice to play bad guy T-1000 in Terminator 2 Judgment Day was A, David Bowie, B, Billy Idol, C, Billy Ocean, or D, Wilford Brimley. Which of these was the original choice, the first choice for playing the T-1000 that ended up being played by Robert Patrick?
I'm going to guess Billy Idol.
You are correct. So this is according to MovieWeb. Robert Patrick, who ended up playing the T-1000 character, told The Hollywood Reporter in a 2017 interview that he saw Billy Idol's image when he first went to Stan Winston's studio. That was the guy who used to do all the great special effects and worked on the first Terminator movies. So apparently Billy Idol was set to play the liquid metallic T-1000, but he hurt his leg in a motorcycle accident and was unable to do the movie. Now, who knows for sure, but I bet Billy Idol did plenty of rebel yelling after losing so much money. Awesome. Well, you did great. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Rick and Rick review of Terminator Dark Fate. Thanks for listening. And please tune in next time for the one show where everybody's name is Rick.
And everybody rules the world.